All right. Thanks, everybody. My name's Laura Woodruff, and as Ellen said, I'm the account manager from National Jewish Health. Our department's called Health Initiatives, and I help, I'm the account manager for Kentucky. Maria, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, thanks, Laura. My name is Maria Rudie. I am a senior manager for products and services. I get to work with Laura and the other account managers. And when you all are talking with your account managers, with Laura and others, and just saying, hey, here's what we're interested in, they bring it back to us, and we say, okay, how can we start to work towards some of the goals, the ideas that you guys are seeing a need to address in the field. So your feedback is critical and really helps us think about new ways to increase reach and access to cessation services. So Laura, I'll turn it back over to you. Laura, one quick thing, it's a little muted. I don't know if it's just my computer, but you sound a little muted. So I just wanted to note that in case others are having the same experience.
All right. Yeah. Can you hear me now? Does it sound a little bit better? Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Thanks, Maria. And I'm going to go through a little bit of who is National Jewish Health and Quitline 101 and what we offer and what Kentucky offers in terms of Quitline services. And then Maria's going to jump in and talk about our provider referral process. So National Jewish Health, we were founded in 1899 and as a response to the tuberculosis epidemic. So, interestingly enough, full circle, we are dedicated to respiratory health. So uniquely positioned for smoking cessation. We're located in Denver, Colorado. We are a academic nonprofit hospital with inpatient, outpatient services and academic medical research center. Let's see here. We do run the quitline for Kentucky. We also run it for 20 other states across the United States. So about the quitline, quitline started was 2002, excuse me, and it's a comprehensive commercial tobacco cessation program. Our services are evidence-based and builds on our expertise in treating respiratory illnesses. We consistently achieve one of the highest quit rates in the nation, over 40%, and we have assisted more than 1.5 million people in their quit attempt. Our staff, this is our pride and joy is our staff, 100+ devoted staff members, tobacco cessation coaches, complete more than 120 hours of training, including our accredited tobacco treatment specialist training. Our staff are overseen by a clinical director and medical director who regularly update content and assist coaches. Program features. We have the telephone coaching program, as I'm sure you're all familiar with. We have a suite of digital services. We have personalized educational materials, nicotine replacement therapy for eligible participants, and special protocols that serve priority populations who are disproportionately impacted by commercial tobacco use. So how do you get involved? An individual can call 1-800-QUIT-NOW or 855-DEHELO-YA, or they can roll online, or, and I know that you're interested in this, is it can be referred from a healthcare provider. 3 ways that we do referrals is fax, web, and e-referral. Maria will get into that in a lot more detail later in the presentation. But just to let you know, we do call out. Once we get the referral, we call out within 24 hours. And if we do not get a response, we will continue to call multiple times across the 10-day period. We are open Monday through Sunday, 24 hours a day in all languages, closed Thanksgiving and Christmas, and early closure on additional holidays. All right, Kentucky eligibility. So to be eligible for the program must be a Kentucky resident, any age to participate in coaching, and 18 years of age or older to receive cessation medication. We do trigger a provider consent for NRT if someone indicates that they have heart-related conditions, has had a stroke, high blood pressure not controlled by medication, pregnant or breastfeeding, or if they've been told by a healthcare provider not to use nicotine replacement therapy. That will trigger a provider consent process where we'll send them a form. They have their provider sign that, and then they send that back to us. And then we can get them the nicotine replacement therapy. Okay, special protocols. Okay, the standard program is a 5-call coaching program, but we also offer special protocols. So here we've got, I'll go into more detail in just a minute, but pregnancy postpartum program is a 9-call program. The behavioral health program is a 7-call program. We also have, as Ellen mentioned, the My Life, My Quit youth program and the young adult program. So pregnancy postpartum program. As I mentioned, 9 calls. There's 5 during pregnancy, 4 postpartum. Individuals get a dedicated female quitline coach, and they must currently be pregnant to enroll in the program. They also received tailored text messages and emails throughout the program, and they're offered incentives for completing each of the coaching calls. So every time they complete a pregnancy call, coaching call, they receive a $20 incentive gift card in the mail. And every time they complete a postpartum coaching call, they receive a $30 incentive card in the mail. From our past evaluation, we've seen a 44% quit attempt during the program, and 68% of participants who complete 3+ calls during pregnancy and 3+ calls postpartum were quit at 6 months. The behavioral health program. This is an expanded 7-call program. We have enhanced coach training for working with participants who report having behavioral health conditions. And the specialized intensive coaching protocol covers topics such as developing coping mechanisms, coping in high-risk situations, developing social supports, behavioral alternatives to smoking, mood management, communication skills, and then really focused on long-term cessation planning. The standard protocol for NRT is utilizing combination therapy. And then the My Life, My Quit program. With this program, we've got a dedicated short code. So you can text start my quit to 36072. We also have a toll-free number and a website, mylifemyquit.com. We offer phone and web protocols for youth under 18 and live text coaching for this population. You can do 5 coaching sessions by phone, text, or online chat with a youth coach, specially trained youth coach specialist. And we have enhanced content for vaping, of course, with this population. We also have a simplified registration and intake process and promotional and education materials developed for youth by youth. All right, Kentucky Quit Men. So what is offered to Kentucky participants? We've got, we know that NRT increases a participant's chance of success when combined with telephone coaching. We ship NRT within 1 business day to participants' home and arrives in 7 days on average. Nicotine replacement therapy options. We've got 8 weeks of patch, gum, or lozenge. We also recommend combination therapy. We know that the patch is a longer acting mechanism, and that the gum and lozenge can help with those intense cravings. So combination of a patch and gum or lozenge. So those who are eligible for nicotine replacement therapy through the quitline are individuals in the behavioral health program, individuals with Medicare, the uninsured population, Kentucky state employees, and then we also have county NRT partners. So Northern Kentucky Health Department, Three Rivers Health Department, and Green River Health District all provide NRT in collaboration with the Kentucky Quitline. All right, intake process. A lot of people ask about what is the participant experience. So I'd like to go a little bit into the intake process. So what we do when somebody calls is we confirm first that they are a Kentucky resident, and then we triage for the special protocols. So if they are pregnant, we discuss enrolling in the pregnancy and postpartum program. We like to call that the PPP program. If they are interested and they say yes, then we opt them into that program. If they're under 18, they're auto-triggered into the youth program. And if they're between 18 and 24, they're triggered into the young adult program. If they indicate a behavioral health condition or conditions, we discuss enrolling in the behavioral health program. Again, that one's an opt-in program. We also talk to them about the digital options. Do they want to do phone only, or do they want to do web phone? And do they want to participate? Do they want to receive text and or email? Then we go into a series of questions that talks about the tobacco history, types of tobacco products, e-cigarettes, menthol, how often, how soon after waking, and age started. We ask them if they've set a quit date and what it is, and then we go into a series of demographic questions, race, sexual orientation, level of education questions. And then we ask them about medical and behavioral health conditions. All these questions help us then also personalize their welcome packet. They can either have this mailed to them or emailed. We've got this Quit Journey workbook, a welcome letter, and a series of educational content. You can see a couple of examples there on the screen. Those are customized based on the answers to the intake questions. And they're available in English and Spanish. All right, coaching. We use 3 proven approaches: motivational interviewing, stages of change, cognitive behavioral therapy. And coaches, at the beginning of each call, the coach assesses their readiness for change on each call. So they ask people, what's your importance of quitting on a scale of 1 to 10? What's your confidence to quit on a scale of 1 to 10? And what's your current tobacco use? As you can imagine, the importance and confidence, that can change day to day. Heck, that can change hour to hour. So this really helps the individual, the coach, understand where the individual is. You might have a really high importance for quitting, but your confidence that day might be kind of low. And so then that's a great starting off point for the conversation. The coach say, hey, tell me about that confidence score. What's behind that? And they can really dig into that. So the coaches use a standardized, unscripted, really conversational style of coaching. We acknowledge that the participants' unique ability for change. We meet them where they are in the journey, and we build rapport with open-ended questions, reflection, and acknowledgement of the participants' journey. At the end of each call, we discuss and recommend the most appropriate NRT, and we set up the second coaching call in approximately 1 week. So that's a little bit about the Quitline 101. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. I haven't been watching the chat, but it looks like we've been monitoring it here.
I haven't seen any questions yet, but I encourage people to add them if they have any.
All right, provider referrals. I'm gonna kick it over there to Maria to talk about provider referrals.
Okay, so we accept provider referrals via fax, web, and we also support the implementation of e-referrals. So there's multiple ways that providers can connect patients to the Quitline for additional support. Laura, if you want to advance 1 slide for me. Thank you. So this page, this slide highlights the current fax referral form, which is found on the health professionals page on the Make a Referral. And I'm happy to bring up the website after we get done here if you guys want to just take a cruise through the website together. The fax referral form, this is a HIPAA compliant form, and it's sent to us by the providers, and both the patient and the provider, well, the patient does need to sign it. If the patient doesn't consent, then we will kick it back to the provider. So I think that's one nugget as you're working with your community providers and thinking about this. Making sure that these forms are filled in completely and that all signature boxes are filled in is a key component to us being able to process the referral and push it forward. We do send providers progress notes via fax or secure email. And I just want to make a quick note, we can only send feedback notes or progress notes back to healthcare providers that are part of a HIPAA covered entity. So for instance, if you have a community provider who might be working in a social services agency, they certainly can use this fax referral form to refer a client or somebody that they're working with. But if they're not a HIPAA covered entity, we will not be able to send any acknowledgements back or any updates to that individual. And it's just a quick distinction, because I know sometimes at the community level, there's a lot of work on referrals in a variety of settings, and we certainly will accept all of them via our fax or web. It's just that HIPAA compliant piece is what allows us to start triggering feedback notes being sent back securely. We do need the patient's consent to receive text messages. So that's a new feature on the fax referral form. Patients can right up front say, yes, the quitline can send me text messages. And that's a key thing, a key feature, something that you could highlight with the providers. That allows us to initiate an introduction to the quitline before we even do a phone outreach. And I can highlight a little bit of that later on of how we use the texting consent to help support increased connections for provider referrals. The provider can also provide consent on this form for NRT for women who are pregnant or breastfeeding. So that is another option, another feature on the fax referral form. If you want to go to the next slide for me. Thank you. So here's a snapshot of the provider web referral form. And if you look, I just want to take a quick deviation. Laura, if you want to put your cursor over where they can find the fax referral form. So prefer a fax referral form. So when they make the referral, if they click on this page under health professionals, this is where they can either do the web referral via this form, or they can download, as Laura's circling, the fax form if they would prefer to do that. Either way. They can also learn more about e-referral, and we will support clinics that are interested in implementing e-referral, bi-directional e-referral. The information on the web referral form is the same as the fax form. It's just one-stop shop, right? Like you put it into the secure form and you're filling it out with the patient as you send it in. The provider chooses if the patient notes are returned via email or secure fax, so they get to select that option in this make a referral. And in some instances, it doesn't have to be the provider. I just want to make a note. It doesn't have to be the provider that makes the actual referral, right? We know that we're talking about people coming into a clinic or a healthcare setting, and they're being asked about their tobacco use. They're being advised to quit, and we're helping them to make a connection. That might be something that a CMA or another clinic support staff who helps with rooming or gathering basic health information from the patient in advance of the provider coming into the room, which then allows the provider to just have that deeper conversation with their patient about cessation and the importance of cessation. But making the referral might not be something that the provider does. It's part of the broader clinic support team that initiates the referral. If you want to go to the next slide for me. E-referral. So we do support integration of e-referral between a provider's electronic health record or medical record system and directly to the quitline system. It's bi-directional. It is secure, HIPAA compliant, SOC 2 compliant. It allows for direct messaging for CCDs. We do follow HL 7v3 compliance standards as well, and it allows clinics to meet meaningful use 2 standards. E-referral, it's a process to put it in place. Not gonna mince words, but it is beneficial once it is in place. It creates a more seamless, systematic approach to making referrals within an existing system that providers use on a regular basis. If they have an EHR system, providers are becoming more and more used to documenting as they're in the room with the patient. the conversation and diagnoses and ordering prescriptions. And so this implementing e-referral makes it seamless for them to also then just order a referral within the EHR system as they're connecting with the patient. Or again, if their clinic support team wants to take that piece on, that's something they can also do within the EHR. There's typically a one-time fee associated with this setup. And that's something that we work through with each clinic. And then this EHR allows for progress notes sent directly back via the patient's EHR record. So it's not a secure message or fax back that's being sent to the provider. It's being embedded right in the patient's EHR record and notes section. Next slide. So this is optimizing provider referrals, and this is something that Heather and Ellen have talked about over the last year. National Jewish Health has worked with a variety of our state partners, Kentucky included, to think about how do we further optimize provider referrals? How do we make this process even a little bit easier, more seamless, to increase the connection rate with patients who are referred, and increase the likelihood that they opt into services. So we've implemented a number of unique features over the last year to directly support provider referrals. We have implemented what we call a referral repeat protocol. So this means any patient that is referred, if we're not able to reach them after that initial referral, 90 days from the referral date, we'll call them again. And we do get a bump in increasing in connection rate and conversion, people opting into services. 90 days seems to be, we did a pilot with another state where we tested 30, 60, and 90-day repeat outreach on referrals, and 90 days seems to be a sweet spot for people having piqued interest in terms of willingness to answer the phone and willingness to enter into services. So that protocol is in place for Kentucky as well. We've updated our provider feedback reports, and these now mimic consult notes or progress notes that providers are used to receiving from other healthcare entities that they make referrals to. So providers are used to making referrals to oncologists or cardiologists, things of that nature, and they receive a progress note or a consult note. Our consult notes, our feedback notes now mimic those consult notes. And so we're excited for those to be in place. We also have a new feature called Text Me First. And so this is where on the fax referral and web referral, the text consent box is really important. And encouraging providers to ask and make sure that people are okay with receiving text messages. It allows us to, before we even call, send a text message just to say, hey, this is the quitline, your provider referred us. You don't have to wait for our call. And then we send them a link to the online enrollment form, which allows an individual to go ahead and enroll in services right away. And we do see by just sending another connection route, another ping, we increase interest and we increase awareness that we're going to be outreaching to them. And it just gives another door, another opportunity, if you will, for that patient to enter into services and not have to wait for our phone call. We also have tied with that a virtual contact card. So if a participant enrolls in services and they opt into text message, they will be sent a contact card. And so this contact card is downloadable to their phone, and it has the Kentucky Quitline logo on it, where your picture, where an individual person's picture might appear, it actually has the Kentucky Quitline logo, and it has both the alpha and numeric numbers for the Kentucky Quitline, so that when our coaches call out to individuals for their coaching calls, if they've downloaded this contact card, they know it's us calling, and they're going to pick up the phone and complete that coaching call. And then finally, we have a provider referral dashboard. And this is something Ellen and Heather can work with you to utilize. It's for our state partners, and it just helps you take a look more proactively at the clinics and providers that are making referrals to see over time, how are things shifting? So you might look at it monthly, you might look at it quarterly and just say, hey, you know, I've been working with these 10 clinics. How many referrals have they made over the last month? And has that shifted from the previous month? Did we see an increase? Did we see a decrease? And you can utilize that to help identify clinics that you might want to reach out to do a little bit more proactive TA or additional training opportunities. So those are 5 unique features that are now in play that kind of support on the back end to increase connections and increase the connection rate for provider referrals. I think the 2 that are of most interest are the provider feedback reports. In your work and talking with providers, just letting them know that they will get feedback reports and that those feedback reports will mimic progress notes or consult notes, the format of those that they're used to seeing. And then that the importance of on the fax referral and web referral forms, making sure that patients are checking off that consent to receive text messages, because when they do that, it allows us to reach out to them via another mode, via text message, and encourage them to enter into services. So those are the 2 things that I'd highlight for you all at the moment. I think that concludes our presentation. I did see a question about will we share these slides. We absolutely can make the slides available to Ellen and Heather, and then you guys can either, you know, email them out, or I don't know if you have like a base camp where you post things. So all options available there. Any questions for either Laura or myself?
Yeah, so if you all have questions, please drop those in the chat or in the Q&A. And we do already have one in the Q&A from Gary Hull from Green River. So Gary asked, I've been told that many smokers may try multiple times to quit smoking cigarettes. Do you have any average number of people who may be repeat callers to the quit line?
So Gary is absolutely correct. It does take multiple attempts, sometimes more than 7, to make a successful quit. And I don't have, Laura, do you have data? I'm just thinking, do you have data on repeat participants for Kentucky specifically?
I don't have any information about that.
That's okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but we do know that, you know, it does take multiple times, and, you know, it's not a failure if it doesn't work because it's one step closer.
Yeah, and we do encourage people to come back into services. And I think one thing that maybe what we can do is look at the slide deck, Gary, and just make sure that we've highlighted how many times in a calendar year can somebody enter into enroll in services via the quit line, and just make sure that that is Ellen and Heather, that our language aligns with how you've been phrasing it with local advocates as well. But certainly we always encourage, you know, make another call, make another outreach. Providers continue to refer patients, even if that first time, that second time, that third time, they haven't been successful, they're making a quit attempt, and it's multiple quit attempts that lead up to a sustained quit attempt, or a sustained quit is what I should say. Ellen, I also saw in chat, there was a question or a comment posted by, it looks like Gary again, saying recently more service providers have in-house TTS, tobacco treatment specialists, who provide one-on-one sessions with individuals who want to quit. If you have clients who struggle with cessation, do you encourage them to contact TTS for more intensive intervention? Do you have a mainline number to give them a warm handover? One, yes, we know that healthcare clinics are doing more in-house TTS training, and that's amazing, and it should be. There should be multiple opportunities for people to engage in a cessation attempt via the mode that they feel most comfortable. If it's talking with their provider, if it's talking one-on-one in person, or another way with a TTS in their clinic, or if it's talking with a quit line. From our perspective, there should be no wrong door. Ellen, Heather, I'm going to kick it over to you and just see if there's anything else that you guys have been emphasizing within your state with regards to TTS training and in-house for clinics and healthcare providers?
I would just say, to go back to Gary's first question about if someone's doing calling the quit line multiple times. And I think if someone's kind of reached their quote unquote limit on the number of times that they've called, then it kind of gets kicked up to us, is what I'm told me, on whether or not they are eligible to go again. And I will never turn somebody away if they're making an honest attempt. So that's kind of where I'm at. We have those limits mainly just so people don't bombard the system with false attempts. But if someone's truly trying to quit, then I will 100% allow them to try to quit multiple times. So our limit really is no limit if they are working to quit.
And Gary's question is really great, and something that I've been discussing with some other states, because we would love to have a database of like all of the tobacco treatment specialists in the state and where they're located, and be able to refer some. So, so if someone did call 1-800-QUIT NOW and they also wanted in-person help, the operator could be like, oh, well, I see that Maria Rudie is located in the city next to yours, and she is a TTS and she takes patients. Here's her number, or refer her. Unfortunately, we don't have that capacity at this time, and there are a couple of different reasons for that. One is it has been really hard to keep track of all of our TTS, honestly. So that is a priority for us, is to try to figure out where they are in the state. But we have not pursued with National Jewish getting that extra step of having the referrals, because at this point we don't have the data to give National Jewish about where the TTS are. But absolutely, like, the more the merrier. If somebody wants to do a freedom from smoking class and individual TTS counseling and do their calls with National Jewish, I'm like, yeah, go for it. Do everything, because the more resources that they have, the better off they're going to be.
Exactly. The more support, Ellen, I think you're spot on. The more support an individual has, it is the better.
And then I see that Kayla had a great question about what resources we have. And I'm trying to drop that in the chat right now, because we have resources as a state program, our 1-800-QUIT NOW resources. So we have a whole like digital catalog. It's a Google form, but I think of it as a catalog where you can see everything that we have available and place an order. And most of the time those orders will be completely free. So we will just mail you the posters or the business cards or anything like that. I will say sometimes we get a little bit low on stock. And also sometimes if it's a really big request, like I want 3,000 of this thing, then we will say, okay, here's the file and you can go get it printed yourself. But if it's a smaller order, we always are happy to fill those for free, because we want you to be able to get that information out to community members.